Hello everyone, welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia and thank you for joining me for today's video. We're going to be doing some plant chores together. So if you happen to tune into my last video on my plant updates this summer, then I did list a couple of things that I wanted to tackle in a follow-up video. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We do have a few things on the to-do list. We have repotting my spiritus sancti. We have chopping my caramel marble because it went all variegated. We have rehabbing my hoya ribbed pillow. I want to repot my dream weaver necromancer cross with Mickey Boy. That was a mouthful. I didn't talk about this in the video, but I just noticed this recently. I want to rehab this plant. This is my inner variegated polyneura. I noticed it had a little bit of root rot, so I just kind of want to check it out and see how it's doing since it did stall in growth recently. And also we are going to be chopping and taking props of a couple hoyas, notably the AH1011 and the AH040. I'm gonna restart that plant and take some cuttings off of it. Because we have so much to get to, we're just gonna dive right in. So I've been playing around a little bit with the angle. Hopefully you can see okay. Unfortunately, the light coming through the window is reflecting off of my potting mat, so you might see that. So sorry if that's a little bit distracting. We'll just have to work with it anyway. We got my orchid bark moss mix. I just mixed this right before the video. Let's chop the caramel marble first, since I've been really meaning to get to it since this plant grows so quickly, but this is what it looks like right now. It is a very pretty plant. It is tissue cultured, and I honestly thought it was gonna revert to all green. I didn't know that it would be going completely variegated, so that was a little bit of a surprise. We do have a new leaf on the way, but I doubt the top cutting of this is gonna be viable because, as you can see, this is already browning. Unfortunately, sometimes this happens with variegation. Let's just unpot it and take a look at the roots. It's been a while since I've seen the roots on this plant. We got leca down at the bottom. I want to reuse that. I don't think I'm going to be keeping the top cutting of this, if I'm being honest. It's a little bit dry, but roots look good. Let's try to expose the stem as much as possible. I feel like it's going to be a really tight cut. Look at how close those nodes are. Okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I'm going to peel off the sheaths and see if we can see a little bit better. It's honestly quite hard to see, but I'm going to chop right here. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. One of my hoya just fell over. And we're gonna have to say goodbye to this top cut. All these leaves that matured pretty well, but they're pretty much all variegated. This is the main green that is definitely not gonna keep this plant alive. Ooh, it's like bleeding. You see that? Like some pink sap coming out of the stem. Top part is a goner. This is what we have left over. I hope something is gonna sprout in this bottom cutting. I have not beheaded very many plants. This is what we have left to work with. The roots looked pretty good actually, so I'm just gonna give it fresh substrate and call it good on that. It doesn't need to be upsized or anything. Man, I don't know if I'm gonna regret that or not. Part of me just thinks I should get like a non-TC caramel marble. I mean, nowadays it's just so hard to tell what is TC and what's not TC. Even some of the more mature plants might possibly be TC. But at least with a more mature plant, you have a pretty good picture on what the variegation is going to be like. With really small tissue cultured plants, you just really never know where the variegation is going to go and take you. Small tissue cultured plants have a bad reputation for reverting variegation. I don't know. It looks really sad. This is a definite glow down, but we need more green. The caramel marble is chopped. Gonna move this aside. What's next on the to-do list? Repot spiritus sancti. Let's do that. I have everything in front of me, very organized for a change. So this is what it looks like. It is dry, dry, dry. Please don't judge me for how dry this plant is. This is the most recent leaf and it got stuck coming out. So that's mainly the reason why it looks a little bit funky, but I also just need to get it in better conditions. I don't think it's getting very much light in the window that it's been in. So let's just see if I can take this out. Ugh. What am I doing? I'm making this harder on myself. This part actually detaches, so let's detach it first. That might actually be a smart thing to do. Here we go, here we go. Aha. Yeah, this is really fused to the pot. Oh. Okay, that just made a big mess. We have broken roots. We have some perlite and lots of cocoa husk pieces. I should have watered it before this. Something about really dry substrate. The texture of it makes me cringe. Not having a great textural experience at the moment. I don't know what I was thinking keeping it in the original mix, just because I'm pretty sure this plant came from Florida, and this mix in Florida I'm sure does great, but this mix in my home under an AC vent has been doing this plant very, very dirty. So while we're here, because we're gonna be here for a hot minute trying to tease these roots out of the substrate, I want to talk about a new systemic pest treatment that I've been trying out. I actually have it here in front of me. So this is the SNS. It's the Sierra Natural Science 209 Systemic Pest Control. This is what it looks like. If you guys have used this before or are currently using it, please let me know your experience. It basically repels and controls spider mites, whiteflies, gnats, thrips, root aphids. I also read online it works on broad mites, flat mites, I believe even mealies, basically any of those pests that will actually eat the tissue of your plant. And the active ingredients in it is actually rosemary oil. You can see that it's about 10%, and the rest is water, soap, bark, and humic acid makes up the rest of this. And I've smelled this before. Let me take a whiff again. And I think it smells really good. Way better than neem oil. You guys tried to tell me that neem oil smells good, and that's propaganda. I don't believe. I even smelled my neem oil again, and I was like, can't get down with that, but I can get down with that smell. I love the smell of rosemary. It just brings me straight back to Thanksgiving, because we use rosemary on literally everything for Thanksgiving up in this household. So I've been reading online about it, and it specifically has two extracts from rosemary. It's two acids. I don't remember the names off of the top of my head. Essentially, what it does is the plant will uptake the rosemary acids, and this takes a couple weeks. The downside with systemics is they are not one and done types of things. It really takes time for the plant to build up that active ingredient within the plant to be effective. I believe takes 2 weeks. They said like 5 applications. I'm using it as a root drench right now. I just added to my nutrient water. That is part of the reason why I wanted to try it out, because people were saying it's a really easy addition to nutrient water. If you're already doing that, why not? You can also apply it as a foliar spray, but right now I'm just doing the root drench. So I just started that last Saturday, and then this Saturday will be week 2, so still way too early to tell. I do have some spider mites in the grow tent, so I am interested to see how that's gonna work throughout this next month. It's not a bad case of spider mites, so that's why I'm okay testing this out over an extended period of time. The deal with rosemary is when the plant uptakes rosemary, apparently it will make the plant taste bitter bitter to pests, so they don't want to eat it. That's like the MOA, is it just makes your plant taste nasty. We'll see how it goes. I'm a little skeptical, but I'm open to trying it. My mind goes, okay, so does every pest known to existence not like a leaf that tastes bitter? What if there's like a spider mite out there that doesn't mind the taste of a bitter plant, you know? Do spider mites not have taste preferences? I'm a dietitian, so maybe this is why I'm having all these weird thoughts about it, but I'm open to trying it. And that's kind of like the fun thing about this hobby, is I'm always up to trying something different and new. The saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. To an extent, I agree with that, but then part of me also thinks that in the plant hobby, you can always be doing something a little better than you are right now. And I think my pest treatment routine is a thing that I do want to upgrade and find ways that are a bit more organic, less toxic. I was using the bonide granules, and I will not lie, they worked wonders for me, especially when I had that really bad mealy infestation, aka mealygate. Definitely more on the toxic side of things, and I really do have to be mindful whenever I use it and whenever I dispose of it and all that kind of stuff. So it would be nice to test out a pest treatment that is a systemic that isn't that toxic, or toxic at all, because it's rosemary. So anyway, the roots are really, really dry. I'm gonna just toss this substrate and rinse through the roots in the plant, and we will be right back. Okay, we are back. So this is what the root system looks like after I rinsed it all off. Did the best that we could. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I also rinsed off the leaves. This is my personal favorite leaf so far that it's given me. So I went back and forth on if I should have it on a pole, because I'm not like a huge fan of moss poles, but I figured since the pink princess in my grow tent perished, that I can just reuse the pole from it. So I quickly grabbed it from the grow tent, and that's what we're gonna reuse. And in terms of pots, this pot will be perfect for it. It's about the same size of the pot that it was in before, so I think that it'll be happy in here, and it will definitely be happier in this mix, just because the moss pieces will keep it a little bit more hydrated than the cocoa husk was, because oh my god, it was so dusty too. It was not great. I'm so out of practice with moss poles, I always forget to put the pole in first. We're also gonna move the moss up a little bit, since this is a taller pot. Okay, let's shove the root system. And this is something that I forgot with the esqueleto when I was putting it up. With these front closing moss poles, you don't even need anything to hold them to the pole, because you just unlatch it and the pole will do it for you, which is very handy, and I totally forgot that. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna lay this down. I've been struggling with this. Before we put it in the pot, let's secure it to the pole. Let's not make our lives any harder than it needs to be. There we go. Moss pole is, just kidding. Moss pole is open. Now we're just going to lay the stem of the plant against the pole, and we're going to clasp it over the stem. Sorry, I can't talk during this. This requires all my concentration. So that was way harder than it needed to be. I don't know why that was so difficult. I'm gonna be taking some of the moss up top here and just filling in some gaps in the pole. Roughly, this is what we're looking at. It's all attached, and now I can, okay, let's redo this. Take two. Now I can put this in, and then we'll just refill the pot. Comes the question of where I want to put this, because it is not a hanging plant anymore, so I can't hang it off of that window. I might just put it in the hanging shelves behind me. Just plop it on a shelf so I can actually see this plant better, and the leaves can face out, so I might do that. This looks so droopy. Look at how sad. And Oh, man. It didn't look that sad when it was in the hanging basket, but now that I have it like propped up. Okay, and that's all she wrote. I will water this plant and hopefully it'll start to perk back up, but this is the moss pole situation happening. And yeah, I think I'll just prop it on one of the shelves back here and hopefully it'll start doing better and bouncing back. Repotted spiritus sancti, chop the marble. This is the gayo lues. So sorry if I mispronounced that, ribbed pillow. Propagation leaves were super pretty. Now you don't know what they look like, but this is what the leaves can look like. It's a little bit smaller than the original propagation leaves, but I fell in love with this plant. Also, this plant was pretty pricey, so I fell in love with the ribbing on this, hence rib pillow. I can totally see why it would be called that. There we go. All those lovely grooves. I don't know if the root system is happy. It doesn't look dead to me, but who knows why it took a beating. This is in a cocoa husk mix. No, the roots look good. Yeah, the roots are fine. I don't know. I don't know why you freaked out. Okay. Well, while it's here, I'm just gonna repot the substrate. I didn't have it in not the best lighting in the grow tent, so maybe that is what happened. It was in like a darker corner, maybe lack of airflow. I did this plant in, I'm not quite sure why this happened. A little sad about it, but the roots look good. And I think if I can just repot this real quick, it might make a recovery. The only downside about cocoa husk is it's nearly impossible to fully take everything out of it without really damaging a lot of the roots. So I think this is as much as I want to do to it. Luckily, because my mix is organic, it's just going to be a nice transition and that I don't need to worry about. I'm going to quickly rinse this pot and we're just going to stick her back in. I really love achas. I'm having such an acha kick lately. I just think that the plants out there, I just really love abs on Hoya. I think that's what my deal is. I'm a fan of Hoyas that are ripped. Add a little bit more. It's repotted. And now it looks like an awkward lanky vine, but that's okay. It'll go straight back into the grow tent. The growth point is still active, so hopefully it'll just start pushing new leaves. Eventually I will cut it because look at this awkwardness, but other than that, it looks okay. We're gonna do the repot on the Dreamweaver Necromancer Mickey Boy. I think I got that right. Oh my lord, I love this plant so much. The emergence, which this is still technically an emergent, but when they are first tiny little babies, they're the most like stunning pinky purple. It really just pops and catches your eye. So why I want to repot this is it does have some babies in here that I want to separate from the plant, but also it's just really well rooted in here. And it's time to upsize this plant. Let's see. Ooh. The roots look real good. Let's try to tease apart. I don't want to disturb it, but also at the same time, I kind of have to see where the babies are at. Let's see if I can just snap it off. I can normally do that. Oh, there we go. It's really satisfying when you snap off an offset off of the stem, because more often than not, it's just like a perfect cut. Ooh, this is like really well rooted in here. I had to break that. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, nice root system. That looks great. Okay, so this is what we got for this little cute offset. And the leaves haven't really been sizing up too much on this plant. I think it's just a little bit root bound and I need to give it some more room. Since we're already playing with the root system, I'm gonna take a little bit of the substrate out of the root ball. Yeah, that's actually great. I do not see one rotty root in here. I thought there were 2 offsets. I guess there's only 1. But this plant has been holding onto its leaves really great. I'm a little sad that the emergent got spider mite damage on it. It's not too bad though. So I think what I'll do is, this is not an adequate upsize. It needs a bigger pot. Okay, let's rethink that. I'm gonna put this to the side. This is a solo cup. I'm planning on using these for anthurium that I'm gonna end up selling. I did put some holes down in the bottom with a soldering iron. I'm just going to use some of the old substrate at the bottom and then put more new substrate up top. PSA to anyone that wants to burn holes in plastic with a soldering iron, please either wear the proper PPE, which is like a really heavy duty mask, or do it outside because the smoke that comes off of burning plastic is a carcinogen, and we don't need to be inhaling that. Use a soldering iron responsibly and go outside or wear a mask and do it. That is something nobody wants to be breathing in. All right, that was really easy. Looks a little wonky in the cup, but roots are looking good. I think this will be a proper upsize for the offset. Now I gotta go back into the plant room and find a bigger pot for the mother plant. All right, we're back. I have a bigger pot. This is roughly the upsize that we're gonna be doing, which is, I think, a lot more proportionate. I did put some leca or clay pebbles down at the bottom, and I'll just reuse the substrate on the bottom as well. There is no rot on the plant, so nothing wrong with that. And we'll just resituate her in here. This plant is growing out of caterpillar, but it has not bloomed for me yet, so waiting on that. Hopefully this upsize will get it there. All right, while I'm doing this, I want to do a quick update on the plant room. I mentioned maybe over a month ago now that I wanted to do a adjustable shelf type deal from the Container Store. I wanted to use the Alpha system in the plant room and get rid of the IKEA shelves that I currently have, redo that wall. Now that I'm thinking about it more, I definitely still want to get rid of the IKEA shelves, but I don't know if I want to use the Alpha shelving system anymore. The promotion that they were having during the summer is no longer, and I wanted to do like the bougier line. So the basic line would have been like $500 for the whole system, but the upgraded, nicer shelves are like $1,800 now without any promotions. And I just think for adjustable shelves in the plant room, that's a little bit too much. That's a bit out of my budget. What I'm thinking of doing instead is putting glass display cabinets, not IKEA Millsbo. I'm kind of trying to, again, draw away from IKEA products. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I love IKEA products. My style is evolving a little bit away from that. I was thinking about like a display cabinet that I saw where it's usually used for action figures and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, but it's like glass doors, except they're not framed, they're fully glass, and it really shows off whatever is inside of that cabinet. It has 4 shelves in it. I think the whole cabinet is like maybe 160, 180, kind of depends on where you buy it from. And I really like the look of that. And I think if I do 2 of them, it'll just really showcase my plants and them be the focus as opposed to the cabinet getting in the way, if that makes sense. Because I think the doors of the IKEA cabinets get in the way of you seeing the plants inside a little bit, you know? So that's what I'm thinking of doing. It's nice because I get more humidity that way, and it's so funny that this is now the trajectory that my plant care has gone in. Because when I first began taking care of plants, I was such a diehard, no extra humidity, ambient conditions all the way. And I still do want the vast majority of my collection to be in ambient, but I just cannot deny that giving plants like 80% humidity just makes plant care so much easier. Like, you don't have to worry about watering quite as much. There is a lot less error for under and over watering. Also, in my experience, the plants grow better in terms of how they look, but also the rate of growth. There's just like so many nice things that I realized humidity gives you after I got a grow tent this year, that it's kind of hard to ignore that. Having those glass cabinets in the plant room will just look really, really nice. So that's what I'm thinking. It's not 100% set in stone yet, but those are just my thoughts at the moment. So let's get the plant tag back in here, and there she is. in a much bigger pot, and hopefully now the leaves can upsize much better. We are moving right along, love that. Let us do some hoya to finish out this video. I'm gonna be taking some props off of this gal. Got this from UPT AH1011. I do plan on selling off the whole plant. I'm not 100% sure quite yet, so I want to take some cuttings. I'm gonna cut it right before the peduncle, and I'm also gonna cut this vine. So this vine is actually growing some new leaves. I'm gonna leave it alone and just let it grow. And then this one, I want to take some cuttings of. I want to properly sun stress them and just see what this plant can do. So I'm gonna cut this down, and I'm gonna be propping it in this. So I'm just gonna be measuring out how long the stem should be, because I hate it when they stick out too much. I'm gonna be doing one more chop on this guy, a little bit more, and that should be fine. I also got to pest treat them, so let me take a couple of cuttings. Ooh, from this is the very beautiful AH040 that I also plan on selling, and I want to take some cuttings off of this plant. Okay, that's the cutting we're gonna take. Let me re-trellis it back. So we still got a lot of plant left. I don't want to get rid of this peduncle, but that would be kind of ridiculous to have such a long cutting. So unfortunately, I think it's got to go. I don't think it was going to do anything anyway. At least it shows that this plant is to the maturity that it is pushing out peduncles, which is nice. Let me measure. I think since the sun is going down, this will be a nice cutting. It'll have 4 leaves on it. Since the sun is going down, I'm not going to film, me pest treating and potting up these props, just because you guys have seen that before on my channel. If not, that was a video I filmed maybe 3 or 4 videos ago. So it's the Hoya prop and chop if you want to take a peek at it and see how I do it. I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing there. These are all the cuttings that I took. Here we go. And we have very nice cuttings of the AH040. I'm going to stick them in here, and I will do that off camera. What I want to tackle on camera today, while we have a little bit of daylight left, is restarting the roots on this plant. I hope it's not going to shock too much from this, but the root system isn't the greatest. The roots are still there because the plant does feel turgid and rigid and all of that, but I just want to get it out of leca, because I feel like whoever is going to get this plant probably doesn't want to grow it in leca. I'm gonna chop these bottom roots since they're not good. There is a surprising amount of dog hair in here. I think it's because the dogs have knocked over this plant multiple times, and I just like scoop up the leca and put it back in this dog hair. Yeah, the roots don't look great. I don't even know if I want to save any of these. I think I might just restart this entire root system, because it's also covered in dog hair. Do you see that? I don't think anybody wants that. So let's cut the roots away. Don't know how long this plant will take to bounce back, but I'm sure it will. I'm going to put it in one of these clear pots. It's enough for the trellis. There we go. Wow, the sun is really disappearing quickly. Man, you guys, I really miss Simba. We all miss Simba, and especially Luca. From the date that this video is coming out, he will be back home in 3 days. We're just literally counting down the days at this point. It is so shocking how quickly he became part of the family. It honestly feels like part of the family is missing without him, and we've only had him for like 3 months, which is insane to me. I always talk like you guys know exactly what I'm saying. If you guys don't know, I have two dogs. One is Luca, he's half husky. The other one is Simba. We just got him about like 3 months ago. He is a Belgian Malinois Pyrenees mix. We actually got the DNA results, so I'll post them up here. They weren't like too surprising. We didn't expect the German Shepherd, but I think that's just because the dad, the Pyrenees, was a little bit German Shepherd. He still acts like a Pyrenees and he looks like a Belgian Malinois. He's at board and train for a month and we have been missing him severely. This is not like the most stable trellis situation because this plant is so top heavy. Let me see if I can pack it in more. I feel so much better with this plant in here though, compared to what it was in before. Now I feel like this is gonna get a really good restart, refresh. The leaves might wilt and all that stuff, but I'm just gonna pop this into a prop box because I have spider mites currently in my grow tent and I don't want to risk that. The spider mites don't really go after Hoya, so it's probably a low risk, but I just don't even want to chance it. So I'm gonna pop it in a prop box to reroot. This mix with high humidity roots like a champ, so I'm not gonna be too worried about it. Yeah, this is the AH040. That I think is all that I wanted to do in terms of repots and plant chores. Hey everyone, so I was editing this video and I realized that I forgot to take care of my linearis and my intervariegated polyneura. I don't know what was going through my mind, but we're gonna be doing it today. I was literally in the middle of chopping up my linearis when I realized like, oh my God, I was supposed to film this. It's already chopped, my apologies. I didn't expect filming today, but I do want for us to pot it up together and just kind of take you through what I'm thinking in terms of how I want to restart this plant, because I do think it is time to restart this plant again. It's just looking a little bit not as healthy as it could be. It's definitely looked worse, but it can also look better. So here's what I did. I basically took a bunch of cuttings of the long strands. So as you can see here, this is what we're working with in terms of the long strands. And I made sure to take off any leaves at the very top. So we have a good amount of stem and Hoya will just root all up and down the stem. So I wanted to make sure it's got plenty of chances to root. And those are the main long strands, and then I also have some shorter ones with the same concept, longer stem, but these are just a little bit shorter. So I think this is enough to restart a pretty good sized plant, and hopefully it'll do a lot better. In terms of the pot situation, I think part of the reason why it struggled a little bit was this pot that it was in was just a little bit too tall for it, a little bit too wide. So I wanted to downsize it, but not exactly to a 4-inch either. I think this is a little too small for it. So I was looking through the pots I had, and I have one that is pretty wide at the top, but it's pretty short. And this is also a hanging pot. I have the hangers that go to this as well. So after it's rooted up and ready to go, I can just hang it on something. Now, if you guys know me and this channel, I generally like to use clear pots because I like to see the roots, but this is all white, so we're going to be taking a little bit of a trust fall with this pot. I am fairly confident that this Hoya will do well in this mix because I just chopped and propped a lot of its ends and all of those props are doing really well. They rooted out super quickly and they're actively growing new leaves, so I think this will bounce back in no time. So that is the game plan for my linearis. I just hope this plant will recover because we've been on a journey together. It's not, in my opinion, it's not the easiest Hoya out there. If you've never had trouble with it, hey, I am super happy for you, but that has not been my experience with this plant. I'm gonna fill it up pretty much up until the line right here, and then I'm gonna start to stick in the cuttings. So two things. I realized that I did not do some of the things that I wanted to do in the previous day that I filmed this, but then I also kind of noticed that, I don't know, I felt a little bit disingenuous, the whole vibe of the video. It just kind of seemed like, I'm gonna continue talking, but I just want to show you what I'm doing. So I am gonna just stick my finger down into the substrate and then I'm just gonna wedge the entire stem as far as it'll go. I Haven't really talked about this on my channel before. Really do enjoy kind of touching base with you guys on life stuff. And I feel like this summer I've been keeping it a lot about plants or just, you know, not too many life observations like I have done in the past, because I feel like when I'm in the middle of a funk, I just tend to want to get through it. When you're currently experiencing something, it's really hard to look back and reflect and grasp the bigger picture of things. So I've been kind of waiting for that moment to happen to me about this, but I feel like we're enough away that I can talk a little bit about it. I have been in a summer funk. It's not uncommon for me to feel this way during the summer. I'm not a summer person. I don't thrive in the summer. If I were a hoya, I would definitely not bloom during the summer. I would bloom during the fall. Fall is really the time that I come alive. For me personally, I don't do well in like really high heat environments. It just doesn't put me in the best mood. But the summer has been a little bit extra challenging, not just because of the weather, but also just because at the end of July, my grandmother had a health scare. And I think the last time I spoke about my grandparents on this channel was I was telling you guys how they had plans to move to Russia. Well, that didn't come to pass for various reasons. Honestly, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because I don't think she would have recovered well, or even maybe survived if she had this health scare in Russia. My grandmother, her health has never really been tip-top these last 5 years, but she was hospitalized at the end of July, and we as a family have just been trying to navigate what the future is going to look like. And unfortunately, her cognition will be permanently impaired, and I've just been going in a circle of what was and what will be. And I just had to come to terms with my time with her and my grandparents is gonna just look different. Being a little bit nostalgic, a time that is no longer, that I will no longer be able to experience. I really do like the time that I spend with my grandparents, because in my opinion, it's one of the only connections I have to like my heritage and my roots in Russia. They cook so much good Russian food, and very much to the culture of they like to feed you until you can't move. Even though I can't speak Russian anymore, I just really value the time that I spend with them. And since I moved away, it's been harder for me to see them quite as often. So there was just a lot of sadness around the fact that I just feel like I missed out time together with her that I now won't really be able to because of everything that has happened this summer. Yeah, I've just been in a funk. I've been feeling a bit down about that. Also, I don't think it helps that I find a lot of emotional support from my animals. Pets give you the biggest comfort. The fact that we've been down one member of our family for all of August. Yeah, I haven't been able to snap out of it, and I've been really stuck a little bit in the past, which is something that I don't like to do. I like to stay as present as I can. I actually found a lot of comfort in this poem by Mary Oliver that just has been really grounding me lately. And I think I might actually share that just because it's given me a lot of comfort, and yeah, maybe it'll give one of you some comfort as well. Not that I've been like pretending necessarily, because if I really felt that bad, I don't think I would be able to film. Social media is such an interesting thing. It can really look so different when everything is post-production, all of the edits have been made and the music's been put in. It's like you really have no idea what these people are going through that portray their lives one way. Boundaries are also super healthy, and people should share on social media what they are comfortable with. Depending on the person, that will look very different. Okay, we're almost there. I'm starting to put the little pieces in. Jamba?
You want to try mine?
Sure.
It's OJ, peach, and banana.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, Cody just brought me some Jamba Juice. If you guys have never tried the OJ, just the normal OJ, You guys are missing out. I love plain fresh orange juice. It is the best. Where were we? I think that is all she wrote. I will probably have to put some of those plant stakes in because I don't think all of it is going to hold. But as you can see, this is what the top looks like. And I'm gonna stick this in a prop box because that is what I found is the fastest way to root this plant. It loves to root in super high humidity and it does that very, very fast. So that is what we're going to do. Just stick her in a prop box all by herself. The second plant that I should have tackled in that video, but I didn't, is my variegated polyneura. I think it's struggling a little bit. So I wanna take it out of the tree fern pond mix. One of the leaves has kind of started to yellow and it just feels very thin and flimsy. So I think the roots are a bit compromised. Thankfully, it's pretty dry. Should be okay to take. Oh yeah, the roots are just like falling away. Definitely not good. So it was exactly at this point that my microphone decided to die. And now we are going to be finishing out this video as a voiceover. Here is what the root system looks like. I am going to keep most of it because not all of it is bad, but you can definitely see the parts that have dry rot on them. Scooping up my mix and putting it into the pot. I have no idea what I am talking about here. And this is the final plant, looking a lot better. As promised, I wanted to read you guys the poem, and here we go. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? That's the end of the video. So take care of yourself. I love you and have a wonderful day. Bye.